So we want to congratulate you.
Thank
This is so
you.
exciting.
Thank you for allowing me to do this. I'm beyond excited.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, I just wanted to start out first by you introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your background and how you've been involved with the organization and what your cause is.
Yes, so my name is Kenley Turner. I'm an alumni from Booker T, Washington,
Mhm.
which is Performing and Visual Arts High School in Dallas. Um, I met a lot of the faculty there kind of throughout my 4 years there. Crystal Reed was my printmaking teacher and my art history teacher. And she kind of inspired me to pursue a career in art.
Wonderful.
And so I went to college for art and got my bachelor's of fine arts. And
Where did you go to school?
I went to Kansas City Art Institute.
Oh, that's where my dad went.
Oh, really? That's so cool.
Yes.
I love that place. It was, what did he major in?
Interior design.
Oh, that's so cool.
That
We
was
didn't
back in
have
the
that major.
50s, though. That was like 67 years ago or something. It was a long time ago. It's way before your time, but he loved it too. Kansas City is a great town.
Yeah, it was amazing. The professors were like our guardian angels. They worked with us through thick and thin with like the classes are so small that
Mhm.
you and your professors and your colleagues um I don't know, you're like a family like throughout the entire time, which
Oh, that's so cool.
I loved it. And there I kind of realized that art is something that is very helpful with just getting through life, getting through it could be a personal problem, it could be just a fork in the road, it could be a mountain you have to climb, it could be something more chronic like depression or anxiety. But I've through college, I think when you leave home, those are kind of things that any young person experiences. But if I didn't have art or like someone to guide me through like an artistic journey, I would have probably just fallen apart.
Yeah.
But I did have that, so I was, uh, I think you grow from things creatively, mentally, you just get stronger.
Mhm.
Um, so after school, Crystal Reed, my teacher from high school, she reached out to me and basically invited me to collaborate with this organization, Dallas Art Therapy, that she is a board member for. And because of my experiences, art therapy kind of just seemed like the next logical step. It kind of just seems like
Mhm.
where my career is starting to go. I love fine art and I love the process of creating art, but I also realize what benefits it has therapeutically, and just the fact that it does so much for people. And I think a lot of times as an artist, I struggle with thinking like I'm just making art for myself. It feels kind of selfish, but I think making art or sharing that process with other people uh,
Mhm.
it feels less selfish. So that's something that I kind of want to pursue. Her and Andrea, they work
I
together.
know Andrea. Andrea and I have a history. Yeah.
Oh,
I've known
really?
Andrea for about 8 or 9 years. Yeah. She's great.
Yeah, she's the one that found Causability, or she found the grant and basically invited me to collaborate with them on this project.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just super. I wasn't expecting this. I was just like, this is yeah, I wasn't expecting to win the grant just because I've never won anything before. But I think it's such an important cause.
Mhm.
Working with LGBTQ young adults, knowing from what I faced, uh, leaving home at 18, and I'm not a marginalized person, but leaving home or being displaced from your home, coming from a family that doesn't accept you or not having like a secure space, I literally can't imagine what that is like. And also we are living in a place where uh culturally the laws tell you you are not acceptable as a person. That's
That's
not okay.
heartbreaking,
Yeah.
very heartbreaking.
So going to art school from freshman year of high school all the way to college, you know, so many of my friends and colleagues identify as LGBTQ, and seeing what they have to go through and experience with, these laws being passed. And most of the people that I work with, their families are very accepting of them, but I know that a lot of people's families aren't.
Yeah.
Um,
So do you want to tell us a little bit about your cause or your program or what you're wanting to do with Dallas Art Therapy?
Yes. So the project that I've created basically focuses on safe spaces and navigating
Mhm.
transient spaces, specifically with LGBTQ youth. So essentially, if you feel like you don't have a safe space to go to, you can create one in
Yeah.
your mind. Um, Easier said than done, obviously, but I think learning the process, the sculptural processes and
Mhm.
the photography processes um that we'll learn in this 2-day workshop. The first day we'll kind of look at some artists who look at fantasy, escapism, um, using miniatures or dioramas to create
Mhm.
these fantastical spaces that you can kind of just find refuge or solace in. And I think there's something really magical about that. Like if your reality is something that you don't want to be in, you can have a safe space that's just for you.
Can I ask you can you explain what a diorama is? Because a lot of people may not know. I know
Yes.
what a diorama is, but people watching may not know.
So a diorama is essentially a miniature. It can be a room, a small room. It can be a
Mhm.
small replica of a larger space. It can be an exterior space or an interior space. Essentially, just like a small. If you think of three-sided miniature, um, or four-sided, it could be a box. Um, but a lot of the artists that I look to for inspiration create these little peepholes where you look inside and there's this whole world inside of this little box. Um, so I'm really interested in that. I hope that gets people excited and wanting to kind of just create their own
Mhm.
space. Um, Also, we'll talk about, it doesn't have to be a literal representation of a space. It doesn't have to look like anything that's real or based in reality. It can be more of an abstracted idea of what they think a safe space is for them
Mhm.
personally.
Mhm.
Um, an art therapist will be there throughout the project, and we'll be having one-on-one throughout the 4-hour session each day, and
Mhm.
just talk to them about their ideas, kind of what they're going through. Um, and I'll be there to help them creatively and help them build their dioramas. Um, And then there'll be a lunch period where we kind of get together and debrief and regroup. The reason why I wanted to include lunch in the program is because if you're displaced from your home,
Yeah.
finding lunch might be something that's challenging for you.
Yeah. And that's something's important to think about. That's great insight.
Yeah, so I definitely want it to be like as welcoming as possible. I want everyone to feel safe, just comfortable, to be honest, just at home where we're making these projects. The second day will be more based in photography. So we will photograph their dioramas, because I believe that looking at a diorama just face to face, you can kind of tell this is fake almost. But if you photograph the space, it almost transcends those fake materials into almost like a different reality. So that's kind of the feeling that I want to give the maker, the person that made the diorama. I want them to have that feeling like this could be real, you know. So we'll go over some photography processes. We'll do a little mini lesson, and then they'll actually work together to photograph their spaces that they made, and build community with each other, get to know all of the other people in the workshop by helping each other with that process. And again, they'll eat lunch together. The art therapist will be there on day 2 as well. I will take their pieces, I'll meet with them, and I'll see what photograph they're most happy with, what their final product looks like. And I'll take those back, I'll edit them, I'll get them printed and framed, and then I will either deliver their framed photo to them or have it shipped.
Wow. That's pretty intense. Is this open now, or do you have any idea of how many people? Or
there will be 8 participating students. We wanted to keep the numbers small just to make it more of an intimate space, and also just to build community too. I think with these marginalized groups, that's so important, is finding your people. And when there's just like too many people to meet, it makes it hard. So 8 people is like the sweet spot. Dallas Art Therapy is going to, I think, invite people who they already work with in their organization.
Yeah, they've identified that have the need.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, makes sense.
If they're not able to find anyone who they're already working with, then they'll reach out to shelters, high schools in the surrounding area. So yeah, that's kind of who we're looking to recruit.
Is there an age limit, like a minimum or maximum as far as age?
So we wanted to keep it under 21. We want to help young adults, but once you reach 21, alcohol and things like that kind of, you don't want to mix people who are able to partake in that legally with people who aren't.
Yeah,
just because you want to keep it as safe as possible. So older teens, like 17, 18, 19, that's kind of a transient age. Even if you're not in a displaced home, but if you are in a displaced home and you're in that transient young adult phase of your life, I think it just intensifies it.
Well, I really applaud you and what you and the Dallas Art Therapy have been doing and continue to do. And I like that this is another aspect of what they're wanting to do, to reach out. Do they see this being a continuing project if it's successful, or do you know yet?
I would hope so. I definitely want to continue to work with them on projects just as a creative voice, just in the future. I know they want to apply for more grants to fund stuff like this, where the project is fully funded, the participants don't have to pay a dime.
Yeah.
But I think that aspect can be challenging when you're working with therapists, just because it, that's why Causability made this grants, because people need to be paid. So
exactly.
but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to collaborating with them in the future as well.
That's great.
I think it's great that you, that Andrea forward your information to us, or so that you could submit, and great to have you as a Causability partner in this.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I think artists, it's just one of those fields where you're kind of you're kind of a lone wolf sometimes, is how it feels. But you just keep applying for stuff and meeting new people and networking and trying to collaborate with as many people as you can, and hopefully it clicks with someone. So I'm really glad that this happened.
And so you said you've done dioramas in the past. Is your history with art primarily like physical sculptures type stuff, or what kind of art do you use typically for yourself personally?
So for myself personally, I would say just any mixed media. So I've done fiber arts, sculpture, ceramics, painting, but my major at Kansas City Art Institute was sculpture. But I kind of picked that major because they let you do whatever you want. You can kind of work freely. I guess as an idea within my art practice, I'm mostly interested in just moving through different realities. So that being
creating worlds.
Yeah, creating worlds.
Yeah.
Dioramas definitely fall
universes. Yeah, that's right.
So I love that idea. And dioramas is like definitely the perfect way to navigate that. I've done like zines, I've done film, like small short films, but I think it's fun to share with other people too, because they can kind of feel like they can tap into what's inside them and make that their own little small piece,
Well, are they going to be able to keep their diorama too?
Yeah, they should be able to.
Okay.
I think that was another thing, is I wanted to gift them kind of like a gift bag of art supplies that they could take and use beyond this project. So like a journal, sketchbook.
When you mentioned take a photo of the diorama, I was actually that you just reminded me of what that question that was in my head. Would this be with a cell phone camera, or would you bring in a DSLR for your that you have that you can like show them how to actually professionally take a photograph? Because it'd be cool if you could send them with like some sort of pamphlet that explains basic photograph techniques and tell them what an aperture is, what f-stop is, what a lens, like just very basic photograph stuff, so that if they ever come across photos in the future, or even if they have a cell phone that like has like the higher features of like white balance and stuff, they'll know, like, okay, I can go off this sheet, like I know it's not the goal is not to just train people on this stuff, but it's kind of like I kind of thought it was like I was when you said show how to take pictures, I was like kind of cool if you could kind of include a little bit of a booklet or some sort of worksheet, that kind of like a really simple, quick worksheet that shows, hey, here's a skill that you can kind of think of photography. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that would be super useful, just because, yeah, I definitely want the participants to be able to, like, I don't want it to just end at the end of the workshop, you know, I want them to actually be able to use what they learn and kind of create their own artistic practice so that, you know, they can actually be helped through art with, you know, what's going on in their lives, which is kind of the point of the whole project. So that's definitely a great idea, is, you know, creating, yeah, just like a takeaway pamphlet or little workbook that they could use. So I'll definitely include that. That's a great idea. But yeah, they'll be using DSLR cameras. I'll rent those. I have one they can use, but I'll rent more just so everyone gets to, you know, work with it and use it in the project. I want to have it done around Christmas time,
Okay.
somewhere in December. If it needs to go into January, I'm open to that.
I think the diorama project, the safe space, I think that's really a cool, ingenious idea, because
Thank
I can see myself creating one and going, okay, I want to be in that world. And every time I get depressed, I can go in that world.
Yeah, even like, I know this is something that's super popular right now and it's kind of just a trend, but the Barbie movie,
Mhm.
that's kind of what it's, you know, something that's nostalgic for so many people, and it's just it's something that takes you out of your reality and you can kind of put yourself there for a moment and just feel happy, like just feel better, you know. Andrea said that with the scale that we're working with and the amount of people working at their facility would
Okay.
work well.
Great. Okay. Fantastic.
So yeah, I'm really excited. But yes, let's definitely set up a time for y'all and Andrea and Crystal and me to meet, just so y'all can get their side of their organization a little bit more, because I think what they're doing is so amazing.
That's so cool. I'm so happy. This is
I
great.
know, it's like, I'm so glad that this is working out, and I love the idea of doing a free workshop too, you
Mhm.
know. Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's so many people who I work at a studio in Dallas that does classes, and a lot of people will tell me and they'll be like, I would love to partake in this class, but I don't know if I can commit to this, you know, tuition price or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think for those really needing a community and needing a I don't know, like a refuge space, free is probably the best option.
Yeah. I love it. That's great. Well, okay. So we want to thank you again for submitting, and we're so honored to have you.